Alrighty guys, what is crackin'? Rich here. Today I've got a 5th gen overused match against a really good battler, and he's also up and coming on the PNP scene and all that. Guy by the name of quackPenguinX. So yeah, it was a really good match, up until one point of the battle, but I'll worry about that later. While I got a little bit of time here, go check out faladrin.com. It's a very knowledgeable site. It's got some great articles with some great people, and plus, you can sit there and you can chat with some awesome people, including me, because I stopped by there a couple of times. So anyways, no more stalling and plugging. Let's just get right into the team preview. I'm using kind of my generic sand team that I've been using, for the past, I don't know, 2 months. And he's using kind of an offensive based team, not necessarily like a hyper offense, more like a heavy offense where he just mostly relies on just offensive Pokemon to kind of just break through teams. But looking at potential leads, I'm thinking he's either going to lead with his Infernape or his Deoxys. I'm figuring whichever one he leads with is more than likely going to try and set up Stealth Rocks, because either one of those could potentially do that. I'm thinking that it might be more Deoxys, and that his Infernape may be more like a wall breaker Infernape, trying to just sit there and just plow through stuff. Looking at the rest of his team, I'm thinking the only really defensive Pokemon he might have would be his Rotom Wash form, which would have a bulkier set with Will-O-Wisp. I'm thinking Scizor is probably going to be a Choice Banded set. Gengar is probably going to be a sub-life orb set, and then his Haxorus could either be choiced as well, depending upon his other two, Infernape and Scizor, or it could be a Lumberry, or a Double Dancer or something along those lines. So just wanting to be safe, I'm going to lead with Landorus in case he wants to lead with other Deoxys. I figure he's probably just going to want to set up Stealth Rocks the first turn anyway, so I can just hit it with a U-turn and then go into my appropriate counters. And that is much better timed than the first narration. But anyways, jumping in. So he leads with Deoxys, so I'm thinking that this is probably his setup man. But he actually goes for the Psycho Boost right off the bat, so I'm thinking, wait a second, did I just get baited into thinking that this guy was going to lead with a Stealth Rocker, and then he's actually an offensive Life Orb set? And that is the case. So, I'm going to go out into my Skarmory, figuring he's not going to stay in here and superpower me, as to I can probably just Brave Bird him back. I'm going to pull a double switch and go into my Latios, as he actually goes out into his Rotom. Now, I have had this experience so many times where I've had a Latios and Rotom and they've had a Scizor. I always bait him into Psyshock, and I'm just fixing to think, okay, cool, Expert Belt, Latios, Hidden Power Fire, get your shit wrecked, son. But the joke is on me this time, as he actually has an Occaberry Scizor. So that was an extremely unique set, and that caught me completely off guard. But because he is an Occaberry set, I figured that I might be able to take the U-turn, and I do. I live on 14, but like I said, he can just U-turn out, and he goes back into that blasted Deoxys. So I figured that, even though I'm probably switching into a Hidden Power Fire because I'm at such low health anyways, especially defensive Skarmory should kind of be able to take it, and I do live with right about half. I believe that's right smacked up where the damage output should be putting me. So I figured that I can just live one and kind of just roost and Life Orb stall him, but he shows that he actually does have Stealth Rocks, so that is, kind of a little bit of an interesting set there, kind of mixing it up with the Life Orb and the Stealth Rocks, kind of playing, a double, ooh, which one am I going to go for? So I'm going to go into Terrakion, which is a huge threat to anybody's team, because I figure he's not going to want to Psycho Boost, and I figure that he might not want to Superpower again because of the fact that I could possibly Brave Bird him and then just KO him when this thing imposes a huge threat on my team. So basically, because he hit HP Fired, I'm going to go into Deoxys, not Deoxys, wow, Latios, and just kind of sacrifice myself. And right here, I'm scouting for the Superpower. I'm figuring he's going to have it because, heck, he still has to hit Tyranitar anyways. So I go into Tyranitar, kind of bait him to hit the Superpower. I do pack the Chopo Berry, which will be able to let me live it, and I just wait for the Pursuit because I figure that if he has a -1 defense drop with the Life Orb combined with the Sandstorm damage, if this doesn't take him out, what the hell? I figured factoring all those three in, that he'll do that. So he goes into Rotom. I'm kind of hoping that he'll go for the Will-O-Wisp and not be choiced, like I figured a whole lot of his other team possibly could be. And that is the case. He does go for the Will-O-Wisp, and unfortunately misses. Not really that big of a deal though, because Hydro Pump kills me right from there, so I wouldn't have been able to have gotten off a hit on him anyway, so like I said, it didn't matter. Now I'm going to go into Terrakion, figuring that his Gengar is probably going to come in. I'm just going to go for a Stone Edge. Even if it doesn't come in, I figure that it can at least do a healthy chunk to his Rotom, which, by the way, did not have leftovers. I noted that it didn't have leftovers, and I'm like, okay, well, it's Will-O-Wisp, and it doesn't have leftovers. You know, what on earth is it going to do? So, he's going to go out into his Infernape. I'm just going to go to Vaporeon to scout. I see Close Combat. I see it doesn't do a whole lot, and I don't see any Life Orb recoil, so I'm kind of figuring that he's running more of a Choice Scarf set, maybe. So right here, I figured that he's not going to stay in and risk his Infernape going down to a Surf at -2. So I'm going to double switch over to Terrakion, hoping that he'll go into his Rotom or anything else, which is exactly what he does, and I'm just like, cool, okay, so I basically can fire off a Close Combat on anything now that his Gengar is out of the way. And his Deoxys wouldn't have really appreciated a Life Orb stab base god base power Close Combat coming from a Terrakion. So he goes back into his Infernape, and I actually thought about this move for a long time. I was kind of hoping that he wouldn't U-turn. Back of my head kind of told me he would, but I couldn't necessarily risk it because that is a huge part of my team, and unfortunately he knows that, so he's going to U-turn out and get the switch advantage and go into his Rotom. So that was a very, very good play on Penguin's part. And so yeah, right here, there's pretty much nothing I can do because I've got this thing, I've got a Skarmory, and I've got my Terrakion, and I want my Terrakion to be as at a high amount of HP as possible. So his Haxorus comes in, and at this point I'm like, okay, well, I can scout and see whether this is like a Banded set or a Choiced or a Lunberry. But I'm figuring because his Infernape was Choiced, and the fact that that didn't do hardly anything to a specially defensive Skarmory, that he is not Choice Banded, so I don't see Life Orb as well, so I'm kind of figuring that he's a dancing set with Lunberry. So he's going to Outrage again. I think he got like about min damage right there. I'm going to Roost out the damage, and pretty much at this point my goal is now to set up some spikes and some entry hazards. So I figure that if I can get at least 2 layers off, since he did get the 3-turn Outrage, that this thing won't be much of a threat to me anymore. So he finishes the Outrages, he gets confused, and then, like I kind of figured, his Lunberry healed him up right here. So I figured at this point, because he doesn't really want to lock himself into Outrage again, he's probably going to want to do a setup move of something, either Swords Dance or Dragon Dance, so I'm just going to Whirlwind out. I do see Swords Dance. In retrospect, kind of Whirlwinding was stupid here, because I mean I was either going to Whirlwind him out into his Infernape or his Rotom, which both of whom can hit me, you know, fairly hard for stab, super effective moves, being whether Fire or Fire Blast or Volt Switch. He does go for Fire Blast. He unfortunately misses right there, and that pretty much like just shot the game for him. Like that pretty much just sealed the deal for me. So right here, he misses Fire Blast again, which that actually means y'all get another like probably 2 minutes of footage, because I think that Fire Blast miss there added like 5 turns of just me stalling because I couldn't really do anything else. So yeah, pretty much I just told him that, you know, I'm just gonna just sit in here and just Brave Bird until my Skarmory dies. But he can't necessarily Volt Switch, because if he Volt Switches out, his Haxorus is going to die to entry hazards and then a Sandstorm damage. So like I said, this is kind of like just sitting here and it's just like waiting. Okay, come on Skarmory, die. So he shows Rest, and I'm like, huh, that's what you are. So he was a Resto Chesto Rotom, which at the time I thought was an amazing idea, because I hadn't thought of it personally. And then I went back and I read some of the articles on there, and I was like, oh yeah, this kind of makes sense. So right here, I think I just decided to Whirlwind, and I was like, okay, this is going to take forever, so I'll just Whirlwind you out. Your Haxorus will come in, die to hazards, and then you can just Volt Switch, kill me with your Rotom. So yeah, I pretty much explained everything up until Terrakion comes back in, and then I'm just going to Close Combat sweep him for the victory. Let's see, what else can I randomly talk about in the like 30 seconds I have left of the video at least. I worked a double shift today, Never done that before. I worked like a 12-hour day. Not really fun, but oh well. I'm sure other people are used to it right now. So, yeah, it comes Terrakion, and he's going to close combat kill the Rotom, and that'll be the game. Had he not have missed the Fire Blast, like I said, Skarmory would have died, and then I would have brought in Terrakion. He said he was going to just stay in Fire Blast again, which in retrospect he could have just switched out to something and then be a 2-0 victory instead of a 1-0 victory. Nevertheless, that was still, up until that point, a very, very good game. Peng. So be sure to go check them out in the description. Come check out Faldron.com. Great site, great people, great everything, so why the hell not? Anyways, thank you all very much for watching. As always, I truly, sincerely appreciate it, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.